The first horror game ever made was probably Haunted House for the Atari 2600, which features a pair of googly eyes navigating a haunted mansion. The most recent horror game I played was Resident Evil Village on the PlayStation 5, in all its beautiful ray-traced glory. The technology has come a long way, even if the premise remains largely the same. What once depended on human imagination is now fully realized with dynamic lighting, 4K textures, impeccable sound design, and out-of-this-world effects. There's also a plethora of indie developers creating some really interesting scares on Steam and itch.
Oh, no.
Horror games are, without a doubt, among the easiest games to make, probably because you can always opt for a no-combat route and create a somewhat scary walking simulator.
We're not gonna make it, are we? People, I mean.
Some game engines are developed specifically with horror games in mind, like HPL, developed by Frictional Games for their terrifying masterpieces such as Penumbra, Amnesia: The Dark Descent, Soma, and my favorite, Amnesia: The Bunker. Additionally, there's the RE engine developed for Resident Evil games. However, there are engines not typically made for horror games like CryEngine or Decima.
Like Mario and Princess Peach.
They're not scary, they're pretty and beautiful, yet there is a game engine that wasn't developed for horror, but it has the most abstract liminal vibe I've ever seen. It contradicts time and space, sound and video, capturing the feeling of motionless movement and acoustic silence with its visuals and audio design. This amplifies that uncanny feeling of artificial loneliness juxtaposed with a cosmos at large. There is a game engine made of dreams.
My television set appears to be broken. All the channels have vanished. Instead, I am forced to sit with my eyes closed and simply listen to the static.
I don't spend much time in Garry's Mod, or the Source engine for that matter. When I'm messing around or recording a scene, I jump into Gmod, frame the scene, set up the lighting, record, and then exit. I tend to avoid those creepy hallways on the map. I don't go there. I mostly record on the grassy field of the map. It gives me a weird, dreamlike feeling. I don't want to say nightmarish because it's not particularly terrifying. There are no monsters lurking around ready to jump at you. Just silence, horror, and dread. No music as far as I know, just this ambient noise, the sound of somewhere, nowhere. If you want to experience the creepiness of the Source engine for yourself, so barren of life and light, you should try playing Half-Life 2 without NPCs. It's not much of a game, it's a weird and experimental trek through a broken world of silent, dreamlike logic. You can hear things happening, but there's no one around, no plot points, no story progressions, there's no one on the monitor to greet you as you enter the City 17, no zombies in Ravenholm, no antlions on the beach, just dead silence, and you feel like you've passed through a wormhole and entered a broken, motionless, soundless dimension that still somehow moves and sounds just fine. There's a movie called The Langoliers in which a group of airplane passengers travels through a wormhole and ends up in yesterday. But yesterday has no sound, it has no taste, it's motionless in its movement. All that remains is architectural logic. I remember watching The Langoliers and being so creeped out as a child, and that's the exact same feeling I get when I play some Source maps or mods for Half-Life 2. The Source engine creates this discrepancy with sound and visuals that it's hard to explain, unintentionally creepy and so darn scary. If you were to load a popular Counter-Strike map and wandered alone through its hallways and landscapes, I bet you'll get the same creepy feeling as the guys in The Langoliers felt. The world of yesteryear you remember so fondly with cheerful sounds, crowded and full. now barren of hope, like everything is fading away, rotting away, and all that is left is this idea of space, the idea of object, the building block of everything material. And there you are, just a small particle in this unfinished world that's eating itself, abandoned and all alone. The horror I'm talking about isn't quantifiable in cries and whispers, it's more abstract. It's loading a Gmod map to mess around and then being hit with this realization that you're all alone on the map. And on the server, you turn around and see a dark silhouette, a shadow of a man, a face. You turn back and move. Now you hear a dim sound that you didn't notice before. What's that? You've never heard this before. Is the map glitching out, or is it something far more sinister? You end the game for you do not know, and you load the next map. Alone again. And now there's this shadow that seems so familiar, and the sound, you can hear traffic, but there's not a single car, not a single pedestrian. It's like you're looking at the poster on the wall, and the poster is talking back at you. Additionally, when you load custom maps that people have built, you're stepping into creations not made by a large team of artists and programmers or a production studio dictating the design. These maps are the artistic expressions of individuals, regular people, not professional game developers. How can you feel alone when you're in someone else's world? The things we write and draw are closely connected to the way we think, to our cries, smiles, and traumas. So those maps you've been playing, they are a part of their creators. How can you be alone when there are actually at least two of you there? The Source engine has this weird and uncanny texture creepiness where things look retrofuturistically photorealistic. Textures and objects appear both tangible and realistic, yet old and outdated. They look vivid and yet dim and dark at the same time. The lighting alone is capable of twisting our perception of reality. Take this hallway in Half-Life 2, for example. You'd think that there's a sprawling hallway just past the fence, but if you turn up the brightness, you'll clearly see that there's nothing. It's just a shadow play of light and darkness obscuring our vision and impacting the way we perceive this uncanny reality. What also heightens the sense of loneliness is that Valve games, at least the single-player ones, are like theater plays. They have triggers and events that play out in a scripted manner. The entire experience is completely railroaded, creating a living and ongoing narrative that expects you to keep moving to show you the next scene. It's like a funhouse, a linear sequence of scares. You either take it or leave it. That's the only choice given. It makes you think about free will. If you were to stop in Portal 2 and refuse to progress further, the game would wait for you indefinitely. So loading a Portal map without sense of urgency to participate in the narrative feels like you've rejected the very fabric of reality. It feels strange and weird, like someone is not playing by the rules. And Gmod can also be pretty weird at times. You play as an evil god with all the tools to create ungodly monstrosities. You can break not just the game, but every building block of the game. You can twist the faces of NPCs until they look like a textured mush. At this point, you're practically building and rebuilding a broken and unfinished world. You, the unfinished god, are toying with NPCs and textures, breaking this world apart, deconstructing it and putting it back together. And it's funny how lines of code and clouds of ones and zeros can create such an uncanny unease. The original source that powered Half-Life 2 was really something special, a neat little engine with rendering and lighting that made us turn around and search for the living shadows. And I haven't even mentioned my favorite Half-Life 2 mod, The Event in the Village. It's a story about a man stumbling upon a Russian village just as his car breaks down. Set in the Half-Life 2 universe, the mod boasts incredible production design and attention to detail. It's not particularly scary, it's a short adventure, a zombie shooter if you will, but the place itself feels so familiar, so dismal, as if I've seen it somewhere before. But I haven't. I know I haven't. It draws me in, but also makes me want to leave. It's like a dream. It's all dreams, that's why the Source engine feels so creepy. It feels like it's made of dreams. Dreams and nightmares.